So when it comes to training rookie guys to become future fighter pilots of the Indian Air Force, two aircraft take up mainstream position here. That is the Kiran Mark 1 and Mark 2 and the Hawk Mark 132 aircraft. With the Kiran Mark 1 and Mark 2s being the basic flying trainers that train rookie fighter pilots to join the squadrons, and the Hawk Mark 132s being the more advanced jet trainer kind of aircraft. Now, while these two aircraft cover most of the bulk of fighter pilot training in India, there are two very overlooked aircraft in the Indian Air Force inventory which are very less talked about. One of them being the Iskra TS-11, which is a Polish jet trainer made by the company PZL. These aircraft have served for a good period of about 20 years during the 80s to the 2000s and have been retired and now only serve as museum pieces. And the second one is the one that is very much still serving in the Indian Air Force inventory, which is the Pilatus PC-7 Mark II. And so if you've heard me blabbering this far, thank you very much for joining Swing Wing Sing in another journey. And today we are going to build this, which is the Kovazavody Prostyov or kopro 1/72nd scale Pilatus PC-7 Mark II. Wait, what? PC-9? B Part 1? What the hell is that? So at this moment, I'm sure everybody else is confused, just like me, as to why I am using a PC-9B kit instead of a PC-7 kit. And the answer to that lies in the fact that there are only two PC-7 kits available in the entire modeling kit market. Now, the first one of these is made by a company called Aeroplast, which makes a very, very crude form of vac-formed kit. This is now absolutely rare and you may never be able to find it. And the second company that makes a PC-7 model is Planet Model. Now, kingkit.co.uk, which lists a lot of secondhand kits, is the only online website that actually lists one of these Planet Model PC-7 kits. But look at the price there, 33.8 pounds, and this is just the price of the kit. Now, if you add about 12 to 15 pounds of shipping, this kit itself in 72nd scale is going to cost upwards of 50 freaking pounds for a little 1/72nd scale PC-7 kit. Doesn't make sense whatsoever. Also then, post my considerable time spent with research on this particular kit and the PC-7 reveals that the Indian PC-7 is actually the PC-7 Mark II version, and the Planet Models kit is the PC-7A, which is the ab initio version of the PC-7. Now, we'll talk about the many differences of the two models in detail in the build video. So let's get back to the unboxing now. Right, so after that little bit of detour, now this is the Pilatus PC-9B Part 1. And a look at scalemates.com website for this particular kit shows that the Pilatus PC-9B kit was produced by KP in 2024, so it's a brand new tooled kit, and it has been continued since then in 2025 as well, with different boxings and different decal options. So as you saw that in my previous MiG-21 unboxing video, you know, that packaging of KP was very small. The entire box was just about the size of my hand. And now, and that's where I was saying, you know, the companies, the manufacturers have now started, you know, manufacturing much bigger boxes, bigger packagings. Bigger boxes, of course, means that you will have to make a much bigger packaging for this if you're shipping it. And that, of course, entails the buyer or the modelers like me who purchase such models to pay a higher shipping price for those models. But nonetheless, the one who wants to build it will build it whatever the price is. And you know, that's been my my mantra for scale models. I have seen the prices of scale models increase in the last 10 years, especially the shipping charges have increased a lot, nearly 50%. if you calculate the customs and shipping together, I am paying approximately 50% extra from what I was paying about a decade ago since I've been importing these kits. So KP PC-9B Part 1, and here's the lovely box art of the Cyprus Air National Guard, and this is a very, very nice scheme. As you know, desert schemes are my weakness. I love desert schemes, and if I wasn't building a PC-7 of the Indian Air Force, I would have definitely built this particular scheme straight out of the box. Right, so that beautiful box art of two Cyprus Air National Guard PC-9s, maybe doing some basic flying maneuver kind of thing, formation flying. So obviously somewhere above the Cyprus countryside. Looks very, very nice, beautifully made. You've also got the name of the artist here, Carlos Alonso, 2024. He's the artist who has actually made the impression of the PC-9s flying in formation. So that's the front of the box. Looking at the first longer edge, you've got the KP logo here. And it says manufacture of this product was not funded by the European Union or any other public subsidies. Then you've got a barcode here. Then you've got the Model Aerovo, or www.modelerovo.cz, which is a Czech website. But I did not buy it from this website. I actually bought it from a seller online on eBay. And then it says this construction kit contains one complete plastic model. Glue and paints are not included. It may contain small parts and sharp edges and is recommended for modelers of age 14 and over. Standard warning instruction on basically all the KP models. The shorter edge has the box art as you have in the front. There's Pilatus PC-9B Part 1 written in bold big letters, 172 scale, Plastikovi model, which means assembly plastic kit. And then you've got the KP logo and the kit number KPM0470. Now the other longer edge, it's got the KP logo, and this is kind of in the yellow background, and it's got a side profile of the PC-9, which was of the US Army. And then we'll look at the back of the box, which gives you all the various scheme options. So these are possibly the 4 decal options that you have with this kit. So the first one you see here is the Pilatus PC-9 US Army Usabn Sotbd 1991. What the hell is that? Well, couldn't they find a better abbreviation for whatever the hell that is? I mean, what the hell happened to all the standard abbreviation rules, which were in fact put into place by the US Army and the British Army, because they're the pioneers of all these abbreviations. For example, one of the very important rules says that the abbreviations of any organization name will be catchy if it is a 3-letter abbreviation. For example, IBM, KLM, those sorts of names, they are very catchy. It's easier to remember what those 3 letters mean. It's easier, to spell them out. But look at this. This is USAABNSOTBD. So 11 letters in that abbreviation. I mean, couldn't you find a longer abbreviation? And another rule which stated that, if the organization name is, much longer, for example, you've got UNICEF and UNESCO and stuff like that, then the abbreviation needs to be such that, it sounds like a full word. But this, Usanbn Sotbd, I don't know what the hell. All right, so research time then. Meet the Usabn Sotbd. And no, that's not a cat walking across the keyboard. The acronym stands for USA, meaning US Army, ABN, meaning Airborne, SO, meaning Special Operations, T, meaning Test, and BD, meaning Board. Who in his weirdest dreams could ever think about that kind of an abbreviation? Now, further research reveals that this particular organization doesn't have its own logo, it possibly falls under the Air Force Special Operations Command, because that's the only logo I could find which was remotely linked to this organization. Stationed at Fort Liberty, these guys are the ultimate critics. If the Army wants to buy a new rucksack, a vehicle, or a high-tech toaster, the board stuffs it with lead and throws it out of a perfectly functional airplane. Why, you may ask? To see if it survives the sudden stop at the bottom. But you just can't drop a tank and hope for the best. You need eyes on the target. So enter the Pilatus PC-9, the Swiss Army knife of chase planes. It's basically a $5 million GoPro with wings. So the next time you see a paratrooper floating gracefully to Earth, thank the USAB Nesotbede for breaking 1,000 parachutes first, and the PC-9 for catching every glorious failure on film. So that's the US Army scheme. And then you've got the Cyprus Air National Guard, Pilatus PC-9 from 2005. Then you've got a Royal Air Force PC-9 scheme, and these are the side profiles, and these are of course the top and bottom profiles that you see here. It says colors and markings, so all the colors are given here. It doesn't give you any particular paint callouts there, so that's that. So let's quickly have a look at what's inside the box then. So it's a side opening box, and here we are. So a single plastic bag which contains all the sprues there, and practically contains everything: the sprues, the canopy, the instruction sheet, and the decal sheet. So let's quickly unbox, or let's quickly get the stuff out of the plastic bag. There we go. Bag to the side. Then we've got the instruction sheet, the decal sheet, put that to the side, the sprues, and some dangling parts, and of course the clear part, which is a single piece canopy there. I'm wondering, does it even have a windshield? Is the windshield missing? I don't know, we'll check. Okay, so let's quickly first have a look at the decal sheet here, and that's printed very, very nicely. Beautiful decals there. Let me zoom in. As you can see, you know, the Cyprus markings are amazing. That lettering there, which would probably be on the nose, on the left and right side of the nose, beautifully printed. There's some decals for the instrument panel of the instructor and the trainee, some switches, I guess, and those logos, they look pretty nice, very nicely done. Again, it's the USAB Nesotbede logo, and then you've got very nice looking seatbelt decals. Now, kopro usually has a problem with the oversized seat belts. I don't know how it's going to look on this particular kit, but I built a couple of kopro kits, like one MiG-23 that I had built a couple of years back. The kit was excellent, but the decals were kind of oversized, and I had placed those decals on the seat. So the decals were kind of oversized, but the US decals, in fact all the decals, they look pretty good. Okay, so decals aside, let's look at the instruction sheet. So it's a black and white instruction sheet, contains history in brief, as you can see there. So it says the PC-9 is a Swiss single-engine turboprop trainer aircraft designed for basic and advanced pilot training, manufactured by the Swiss company Pilatus Aircraft since 1984. The first flight was in May 1984. Since then, 260 have been built. It can also be used as a light combat aircraft. There's a PC-9 basic version. There's a PC-9A for the Australian Air Force. Australian Air Force, 67 machines built, and the PC-9M, introduced in 1997, is a new standard production model. And then you've got some paint callouts. I think these are Humbrol paints. Yes, it says Humbrol here. So all these are Humbrol paint callouts in the instruction sheet. Basically a single piece of paper which has everything. So first thing you see is the sprue map, all the sprues laid out, and the usual problem with kopro is usually the numbers don't match what they're trying to show on the actual sprues. So you'll have to keep in mind that's a standard problem with kopro kits that I've noticed. We then move into the seat and cockpit assembly, followed by the assembly of the fuselage, the cockpit inside the fuselage, followed by the assembly of the wings, top and bottom halves, assembly of the kind of wing roots here, I think, then the prop, then the tail fin structure, and then you've got the undercarriage, gear bay mountings, maybe some weapon hard points, but it doesn't have any weapons, I think. And then finally, of course, you have the canopy, and then it closes up to be depicted as the full model. So that's the instruction sheet. Quick, sweet, and simple. And then let's have a look at the sprues. So what do we have here? We have 1 and 2. Just these 2 sprues. Well, what's there to look at? Let's stop the video right here. Anyway, jokes apart. Let's quickly have a look at this sprue first. So it's got a very, very nicely detailed cockpit. I think, you know, the indents in the cockpit, they look pretty nice. With a few decals, they will definitely pop out. Very nice recessed panel lines here on the rudder, and I see that they've given 2 different kinds of rudders, and that's the difference. So I think the PC-9A, it'll have this single the rudder with this leading edge in a straight sharp triangular shape, whereas the other one is the one that is actually used on the Indian Air Force PC-7 Mark IIs, which is actually the PC-9M. So here it is, and that, you know, the 3, I call it the 3 triangle structure, or the first triangle is here, the second one is here, and if you consider this as a triangle, so 3 triangles there. So that's the one that I'll be using. You've got to be mindful of which particular tail structure you're going to use. Then you've got the tail fin. The fuselage also looks very nicely detailed. The panel lines are not too deep and not too shallow either. So, you know, maybe if you want to enhance them, you can add a wash and enhance them. But that would be if I had done the Cyprus one. But the Indian Air Force ones are very, very colorful, and they are maintained in a very high shine, pristine condition. And so, of course, I will not be using any sort of weathering on this aircraft. Now that's the left side of the fuselage. Looks pretty good. Here's the second part of the sprue. You've got your entire wing structure here, and this wing structure is also accompanied by the top portions of the wings. As you can see, the indentations in there are pretty nice. The panels are very, very crisp and clear. They look beautiful, no doubt. And then you've got your props, the prop blades here. You've got your 2 seats, the pilot and the instructor seats, and then you've got your wheels and instrument panels. Pretty simple kit. I think, you know, this is, it's going to take me just a couple of hours to, you know, put it together and get it to the painting phase. The only thing being, you know, adding the Indian Air Force modifications, which of course I will do once I start building. So there we are, ladies and gentlemen. Swing Wing Sing is going to crack on with this build and start building it. If you liked this unboxing video and the information that I shared, please click the like button to consider subscribing to the channel if you're here for the first time. If you're a visiting subscriber, don't forget to comment, because I love interacting in the comments. I love reading your comments. So I will get started with this kit and see you again shortly in the build video. Bye bye, take care.